Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. So we're at day 2 for our workshop on AI for professional writing, and I'm going to hand straight over to Mina.
Okay, so good morning, all. Thank you all for turning up on a specific, it's a closure day in the UK, but it could be like, is it weekend in any other country? I don't know. If it's weekend, thank you for sparing the time to come and join to this session. So we are continuing our learning from yesterday, and we looked into a number of things uh, as part of our training yesterday. We looked for different types of prompting techniques that we can use to produce our writing for academia. We looked for how we can do literature review and speed up the process to some extent with the help of AI tools. So for today, I do have a number of things planned that I want to share with you. So we will look into a creative writing example today. So we have a participant who wanted to look for this example. So we will begin with a creative writing example where I would be showing you some example prompting for creative writing. Then we will move into some examples for AI for legal writing, such as, let's say, contract generation, or if you are a lawyer, you could use AI tools to summarize things and help you prepare for cases by identifying useful resources and so on. I do have a very brief example on how you can use AI tools to do your research for journalism, which is again a fact-based field, but it has entertainment aspect associated to it in some cases. We will look into some additional content for business writing, such as customer support emails, product descriptions, website blogs. And I do have a new item for this week is on user persona. So we did a webinar last week and we covered customer support email product description bits, but I noticed that most of you probably are joining this webinar for the first time. So I thought let's cover those with a brief detail. We will be showing you how to work with some of the prompts using ChatGPT, Claude. The reason for including Claude is for long form stories where you have, let's say, you're writing 200 or 300 pages of document. Other chat platforms are still not able to handle larger documents than the Claude. So Claude would probably be, if you are using AI for creative writing, Claude is probably the right platform for you to produce or, let's say, augment your existing content which are in long form. We'll also look into Gemini, which is the Google's offering in the AI assistant space, to produce some of the examples that we have. Housekeeping as it is, a login account to ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude would be good if you want to try along some of the examples with me. I've shared the slides in the Google Drive that link that you had. So currently you have a second folder on day 2, which should be accessible to you in terms of the slides are available there. And I try to give you a 10-minute break in the middle. So we are starting with creative and fictional content. And if I begin with what comes under creative writing, so examples would include novels, short stories, poetry, plays, or screenplays. The objective with creative writing is to entertain and provoke people's thought or evoke emotions through storytelling and literary craft. And most of the time, creative writing includes human condition experiences and lots of imagination without being constrained solely by the factual accuracy of the content. It uses lots of literary devices like metaphors, similes, symbolism. People that study creative writing at the university do distinctly learn these techniques, how to incorporate them when they're creating their creative content. And the content could be very flexible and it can range from, you could create stories that are very realistic, or you could make them as fantasy, such as, let's say, cartoonesque or Marvel movie stories and so on. So AI use cases in academic creative writing, with the very first case where you could definitely use AI is in the idea generation and brainstorming stage, where you can use it to give you ideas about what my plot should be, what the characters could be, what settings or what plot twist that can be in the story that you are planning. And it helps in brainstorming sessions with numerous suggestions. If you have used ChatGPT, you can ask it any question. It would be able to, let's say, give out some of the options for you in terms of whatever you asked help with. Writing assistance. So if you have a specific plot in mind, you can input that to ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Claude as an AI, whatever AI assistant that you're using. You can ask it to assist you based on your existing content. You can ask, given the characters, you can ask it to write out dialogues for you or provide you descriptions based on a specific input setting that you have provided it to. You can use it to edit an improvement in terms of, let's say, if you want to change the structure of your current content, if you want to elongate something. So let's say you have written something one page, you want it to modify and update it to fit 3 pages and so on. Those sort of things are possible. And in terms of learning and development, I think that should be the best use case for using AI. It can give you prompts to improve your skill as a writer. And we were saying that, like, creative writers, when they go to grad school, they learn about various methods, how to make things engaging and so on. You can use AI tools as a learning tool for you. So if you do not understand the breakdown of various creative techniques, you can ask it to break it down for you, provide you examples so that you understand the process better to incorporate it in your writing. You can make it to experiment or using different genres, styles, and so on. So it can be used as a collaborative tool for co-creating your stories. But as I said, AI tools are driven by the data that it has seen. It's not a creative personal, it's a machine. So its originality is very limited. It can create content, but originality is not something that it is ensuring you. So you can use it to enhance your creativity, but don't expect it to be very creative. It has very limited understanding on the nuanced human experiences, and you definitely need to use it ethically. So if AI has produced something, you cannot claim that like you created this unless you modified it heavily before outputting it to some source. So for the creative writing example, the first example that I got for you is I started with a simple writing exercise where I said I want to write something with the genre of children adventure. And I want to create some prompts with the tone where I want the AI assistant to write something like lighthearted and inspiring. And the type of task that I can give the AI to do is, let's say, if I have some notes already about what I want in that study or story, the tricks of being in academia. I'm trying to say story, but I said study. But in any case, so can you expand these notes on a compelling scene? So I need help in fleshing out a character profiles based on the outline. So you, as a story writer or a creative writer, you definitely have something at the beginning in mind. So currently, the very first thought I have is I want to write a children's adventure book where the tone is lighthearted and inspiring. So the first question I would probably ask the GPT, like ChatGPT or any other AI assistant, is because I wanted to produce content in the creative space. I want to filter my question by saying, I want you to act as an expert fictional storyteller. So I'm giving it the persona that I want it to act as. Then I'm asking it to provide some desired output. And depending on what you want, your question will be formed according to that. You also can set okay, the goal of the output, whatever question I have asked you to produce about, the goal of this output would be to create a book that is appropriate for the age group. I'm also giving it a context. Okay, I want the story for my young readers who are aged 3 to 6. So I'm setting the age of the users of that content, the language that ChatGPT should use or the AI assistant should use should not be complex or difficult. Another thing that I'm formulating is, okay, I'm giving you some limitations and guidelines. So currently I'm giving it a guideline of, okay, I want it to be lighthearted and inspiring. So let's say if I type in my very first prompt, it could be, let's say, so I've listed 7 specific type of prompts that a creative writer could use. So first one is a brainstorming prompt. So application could be, I want 10 ideas for the novel's premise, or let's say 10 ideas for the novel's ending based on the chosen premise. So I can ask it, okay, I want to write a children's story. Can you give me light-hearted children's story? Can you give me 10 ideas what the topic can be? Or there is a synopsis prompt where you could ask for a detailed synopsis for a story in a specific genre. So you can ask it to write a romantic story, or let's say it could be a horror story or that sort. So you can get some initial ideation stage depending on what you want the chatbots to do. As I said, I'm not a person who writes novel. The prompt ideas that I've taken is coming from a YouTuber who's called the Nardi Novelist, and he has a channel kind of full of hints and tricks that could be useful for a creative writer. So I do have slides for each of these prompts later on, so I'm not spending too much time here, but on this slide, what you have, we do have type of prompt, what that type of prompt can do. So the character prompt would write a detailed character profile for the key characters, who is probably a protagonist to your story, antagonist, or a mentor. You can include physical description, backstories to be included in the description that these AI chatbots are producing. So the first brainstorming prompt could be, let's say, because I said I want to show you a demonstration where we are formulating a children's storybook, which is a light-hearted story maybe. So I said, okay, act as a fictional story writer. Give me 10 ideas for the novel, for a novel's premise for a children's story. So currently it has given me, let's say, 10 ideas where a young squirrel's quest to find a golden acorn is a story's idea, or a day in a life of a magic school bus, or a lost kitten's journey to find its way back home. So all looks quite plausible. Let's say probably could be an exciting story for a person. So what I could do, I could quickly, or if you have access to ChatGPT, copy on the example of the prompt and see what it outputs for you. So act as a fictional story writer. You can change the novel's premise from a children's story to a horror story, and it should be able to give you some ideas based on that. So currently I asked it to continue the story generation. I said, okay, I am choosing that my story would be a young squirrel's quest to find golden acorn. So let's say next thing I asked, okay, if this is my story, so I asked it again, I want to have some ending ideas for this storybook where a young squirrel is out to find some golden acorn. So currently, if I ask it the same prompt that you're seeing on the screen, it gives me, okay, some of the ending ideas could be that the squirrel has found the golden acorns, which grants the forest eternal spring. So let's say you know that the squirrels do not store a lots of nuts for them to survive in the winter. So if the squirrel finds a golden acorn, there would be, let's say, eternal spring. They do not have to worry about what they will eat in the winter and so on. So this could be a good ending idea. Or the second option ChatGPT suggested me could be that discovers the real golden acorn was a friendship that made along the way. which is quite nice, not bad. So golden acorn is a legend, but the journey inspires the squirrel to see the beauty in every day. And so some of the ideas that ChatGPT is giving me is quite plausible. So I can continue in terms of, okay, now probably I know what the story will be about and what can I do to expand on it. So currently there is a synopsis prompt. There is a technique in creative writing called a three act stages. So currently, I'm saying that, okay, the young squirrel who could be named as Sammy, and it went out to identify the legendary golden acorn, which is said to grant the forest an eternal spring. So I have chosen one of the 5 options ChatGPT gave me. Okay, I want this to be my ending of this story. Now I told ChatGPT, okay, I need highly detailed synopsis for a children's fantasy story, and I say that, okay, I want it to be formatted in a traditional 3-act format. So in Act 1, I want you to introduce Sammy, who is a young squirrel, and he's very motivated in seeking the golden acorn, set up the initial situation, and then you should describe he has set out to find that. So I want you to write something about his departure from his home, what early challenges he faced, what friends he made at the beginning of their quest. So he's not going along, he's taking it. I'm saying that, okay, let him have some friends that will help him identify the acorn at the end. So in Act 2, you're saying, okay, detail the main adventures, trials, some. So depending on if you're a writer, you definitely will have some sort of plot in your mind, and you can draft those in quite nicely. And yesterday I was saying the first step of prompt engineering is planning. So you identify what you want the AI assistant to do. And if you have the plan created, you can formulate your prompt. That would be quite helpful in giving out the right set of output in terms of what you want. So in Act 3, I said, okay, so introduction will be, the characters will be introduced, they will start their journey. In the middle, they will be discussing about what challenges they are facing, what discoveries has been made, what lessons they are learning, and it would be building towards a climate. And I also wanted it to highlight the evolving dynamics between Sammy and the new friends, so emphasizing the themes of teamwork and perseverance. So if we want to include some morality aspect of it in the story, a learning in the story, you could also try to include that in the prompt that is available. Oop. So let's say correctly example outputs from ChatGPT, as I gave it that big detailed prompt. So it say that, okay, it also tries to give me a similar sort of synopsis for the children's fantasy story. And he is setting the ChatGPT is setting the scene for the squirrel that, okay, how did he know about the golden acorn? He overhears elders speaking about that legendary golden acorn, which can grant the forest an eternal spring. So inspired by what he was listening, and he so as I gave the more detailed instruction, it managed to find out a plot for me. So it set out the scene that Sammy knew about golden acorn because he overheard that elderly people were discussing that if they had a golden acorn, the forest will have eternal spring. So it did, I would say, fairly good job in terms of identifying various plots and so on. So we learned about AI imaging tools and video tools that day. So I took the liberty to create a book cover for this fictitious story that I was making for today's slide. So I said, okay, generate me a visual for Sammy, a young squirrel who is overhearing elders speaking about that legendary golden acorn that can grant the forest eternal spring. So currently, as I provided that input to an AI image generation tool, I use the DALL-E, which comes with the Bing's image creation tool. So it gave me quite a nice cover. So there is I also provided a description of Sammy that I want him to be wide-eyed. wander at the world using vivid descriptions of the forest. So the squirrel was coming out as the description that I wanted the AI to generate the squirrel with. And there are some older squirrels on the background of it where they are probably having a meeting. So these are quite reasonable and plausible description of what I wanted it to do. But in real life setting, I think for short form stories, ChatGPT could do quite good job. But for long form stories, you as a human writer will need to do the heavy lifting, and AI could create descriptions or create plots for you or give you alternative routes to explore as a storyteller. And so there is another prompt that as I was following the YouTuber's guidance on what sort of prompt. So for the fictional story that I'm making, the character prompt for Sammy, I provided, okay, I want him to be small with bright, curious eye and a fluffy tail. Backstory, he grew up listening to the tales of the forest and dreaming of adventure. I say that, well, you are creating the description for Sammy, make him brave, curious, or a bit impulsive. His goal is to find the golden acorn, or the flaws would be like he acts before thinking and that sort of thing. So depending on, because it's a fictional animal character for me, but if you're building out human characters, you know that, okay, you want to have 10 different characters in your story. And at the planning stage, you formulate what characteristic you want these users to have. And as I say, planning first before asking the AI to do anything would help you get the output the way you want it. There is another point that like the nerdy novelist person made was, you can also make it to create story bits. So by story bits, what he meant was, okay, currently you definitely need to produce a realistic description or feasible description on various chapters. So in chapter 1, he is learning about from the elderly people that if he gets a golden acorn, forest may have an eternal spring. So you could break down various things on, like, he heard from the old elderly people that, okay, there is a story about golden acorn. Then he definitely needs to do some research. Okay, what about that? Well, let's say golden acorn. He would be researching about old tales in the library and so on. So you could set, okay, I want this thing to transition from here to there, and depending on how you formulate your bits, AI would be able to bring out the various bits. Okay, where do I need to make changes, transitions, what needs to happen after what? So currently, let's say he did his research at the library. He decides that he needs to go on that quest, and he says goodbye to his family, packs a small bag of essentials, and then he heads off, and so on. So the more the detail that you provide to AI, when it produces the description, it would be more tangible in terms of what you are finally looking at for this specific prompt. And in terms of character profile, we say, like when I gave AI that, okay, please write a detailed character profile for Sammy. So I gave the small bits that you saw in the previous slide, that, okay, I want Sammy to be this, that, and it would be, it has given me similar sort of detail, but I did not tell it to write the full chapter or so on. But currently, as I said, that you could expand on various things so that the description will include whatever you want in the characters. And you can briefly touch on, let's say, for Sammy, if we expand slightly more on the character development, that Sammy grows or changes throughout the story. And this could be included by the lessons he learns, changes in his worldview because he's out and about to identify that golden acorn, or new skill that he's acquiring. So as the story progresses, I want the description to capture those changes because he's learning along the way. Those are the descriptions we could ask the AI to capture as well. So there is another prompt that were listed in that specific description, was a style prompt. And with style prompt, you can ask AI to do various things. So you can ask it to write in a serious tone, humorous tone, romantic or mysterious tone. You can ask it to produce the diction, which is simple or complex, depending on word choices and phrasing. So in the prompt that I am experimenting with currently, because I told that the audience, the readers would be 3 to 6 year old, the word choices definitely needs to be simple, not too complicated, and so on. You can ask it to write the description in a first person or a third person. You can also ask it to modify how long you want things to be. So in the verbosity, you can select, okay, you want Sammy to tell the story in 5 pages, or you can tell it to write 20 pages in terms of, okay, you want it long-winded or terse or to the point. You could make those type of styling prompt included when you produce a specific chapter and in your descriptions. And in creative writing school, people learn about metaphors, alliteration, hyperbole, and those sort of things. If you want it to include some specific creating writing technique that you are aware of, and if you want that to be embedded in the writing style, that is also possible to do. But as I said, you as a storyteller need to do the heavy lifting of what you want the AI to generate. Describe it in a specific manner so that AI can incorporate the input that you are producing. And in the style prompt, so I tried out the style prompt for Sammy. So I said, okay, give me a paragraph in first person, write it in past tense, and I want the description to come from Sammy's point of view. And I'm repeating the description of Sammy is a wide-eyed wonder at the world with the vivid description of the forest. I want the dialogue to reveal Sammy's bravery and youthful optimism. I want him to incorporate strong verbs that convey action and adventure and include conflicts like natural obstacles or puzzle. So let's say he went out for the quest and there was lots of rain or there was floods and so on. So those type of things you can include in the prompt. As I said, you definitely want to avoid overly sentimental. So for this one, I say that, okay, avoid overly sentimental descriptions. Because AI could definitely output something that's like too made up and so on. So I say that rather than making the description overly sentimental, focus instead on the excitement of the discovery that Sammy is experiencing over the way. So I could try to show you how we did various things in ChatGPT quickly. What's the time we have? Oh, we do have plenty of time. So let me quickly open up my browser. But as I said, I'm not a storyteller. If anyone in the audience who is a creative writer, they would know some of the points better than I do. But what the AI tools are capable of currently is it can definitely help you out with ideation stage and so on. So let me quickly take this specific prompt and head over to my browser. And if I paste it here, next. So currently on a different run, it may give me different things. So it's not giving me an output of acorns, let's say squirrels run for golden acorn. So which is good. So you can see a different example. I don't need 10. So I should have said, okay, let me have 3 examples. So currently the trend is that ChatGPT either chooses to produce 10 outputs for you. So currently it has given me 10 fictional stories, A Secret Garden of Woods, where in a small forgotten corner of the library, a young girl discovers a magical garden where words bloom into stories. Each plant represents a different story. She must investigate the garden's mysterious save from vanishing into shadows of forgotten tales. Okay, let's pick that one as our story. So what we can do, give me some ending for this story. And now, rather than putting it in bullet points, currently it's trying to write me the specific portion of the story. So it is telling that, okay, she is in a hidden corner of the library. Every story is a plant which blooms, and so it says in the end, the secret garden of words stood as a testament of the enduring power of storytelling, a magical heaven where stories would forever bloom and never be forgotten. So I say, can you tailor it for a younger audience, 3 to 5-year-olds? So it's trying to simplify the language a little bit in terms of like what can be. I think like children's know that, okay, let's have a party. So it included something like let's have a story party and so on. So as I said, depending on what you want in the prompting, you definitely can explore various aspects of the things. You can use the character prompt to formulate the character of the storyteller. In this case is a young girl, what you want it to look like. So let's say if I ask, so I do have a ChatGPT Plus which has DALL-E 3 on the back end. So if I ask it, create a persona or image for this young girl at the library. So it could be that, let's say you are writing that book and you want whoever is reading an opportunity to paint on the book that you have published. So whatever image the AI tool creates, you can convert it to black and white, so the user can have some sort of opportunity. So image creation takes a little bit of time. So currently it's running round and round. Let me see. Okay. So currently it's a girl sitting on a corner of the library. Her stories are forming into, let's say, plants, and it looks quite reasonable. So if you want things to be experimented and included, AI tools are definitely capable of giving you at least the initial ideas in terms of what you can work with in various settings and so on. So currently I said, okay, create an image for a young girl at the library. The prompt that the AI tool used on the back end is image of a young girl in the magical library, surrounded by story whispering plants, and it captures our enchantment and curiosity. So these are the things that has been included. If you want to change the description to something else, like if you want the girl to be shy little girl, you can add those description in the prompt. Yeah. And if you have not attended we covered day 2 in the previous week's webinar on AI image and video generation tool. So we experimented with 2 other platforms called Playground AI. So I could quickly take in one of the things from image of a young girl. And I can try what other AI tools could create for the same prompt. So currently, if I paste this description here, image of the young girl in a magical library surrounded by story whispering plant. And let me see what another AI tool can generate for this. And with Playground AI, we do have options of, so this one is more cartoonish, but it's still believable in the way it produced the thing. Different AI tools have different capacities in terms of, so if I told it to create, okay, create a photorealistic, I want it to be photorealistic. So Playground AI allows you to create 100 images per day. So this is a free platform that allows you to create images according to the description. So the previous one I thought is a little bit cartoonish. So currently, if it created a photorealistic image, it looks somewhat more similar to the one ChatGPT generated on the back end. Okay, so let me go back to my slides. The examples, as I said, I shared you the PDF and the PowerPoint slides. You can take the examples and try it out for yourself if it is a topic of interest for you. Okay, so we were at style prompt and so on. And from current slide, as I said, not all of the creative writing is storytelling. It could be about another form of talking about your real life experience, but in an engaging manner and so on. So another prompt example I thought would be quite useful to show you the capability of the AI. So let's say if you want to write about a moment of change in your life. So the prompt could be write about a moment in your life that changed your perspective significantly. So if I give AI this specific prompt, it would output me something. And if you want to see that what AI is creating an alternative description. So if I say that, okay, this moment changed my life significantly, but if I did not do that, so the road that's not taken. If I say, imagine a decision you made in your life, now write a story exploring what would have happened if you had chosen differently. And the type of outputs ChatGPT gave me, okay, I did not give it any backstory or anything, but if you have a personal story with like more details and background, you can definitely input those to be embedded in the description that the ChatGPT is producing. So currently, let's say in ChatGPT is saying, okay, imagine a moment seemingly inconsequential at the time, the subtly but so it's very wordy in terms of the words that it has chosen. So it's trying to say that, okay, this person decided to move from a village and to a town. So ChatGPT gave a believable description on, okay, this event could be changing the perspective of somebody. And with the same prompt, I said, okay, if you have not decided, taken that decision that you took beforehand, what do you think it could be? Like if you have chosen differently, what would have happened? So in this case, it started the story with once upon a time in the crossroads of my youth, I stand before two diverging paths that promise vastly different adventures. So the decision whether to accept a job offer or in a bustling far-off city remain in a quaint hometown, nestled among the whispering forests, serene lakes, and so on. But as I said, some people's writing styles would not be the way that the AI tools are written. So we learned something about prompt priming, where you can give the AI an example of your own writing and ask it to follow the style in which you write. And then AI would be able to incorporate the tone, pace, and the style that you usually write with and give me something in the similar tone. And there are some tailored AI tools. So ChatGPT is a general purpose platform. It can do almost any sort of query, which does not make it good in anything. So if you want to make it good in a specific thing, the way we do it in the prompting, I want you to act as something. So then it fine tunes the response that it would usually create. So Novel Crafter is a platform where they have combined ChatGPT's functionality with some creating writing. So domain expertise from creative writing. So novelcrafter.com is a platform which is tailored for all-in-one tool for fictional story writing. Sudowrite is another platform that is used by the beginners in terms of like creating the plots or building your chapters and so on. Autocrit is another platform that you can use in editing, where you can edit your content on the go. So AI would generate something, you will proofread, modify, change according to your needs. Autocrit is a platform where you can do the editing along with the content generation. Story Spark AI was another platform that I saw. So where they were creating children books using AI. So there are existing children books that has been created by AI visuals and the descriptions for those specific images. So it could be a place to look for what people are doing in the space using AI. So I was talking about the Nadi novelist. He does have a full channel depending on what's your interest in the space. So he had examples on book writing, short story writing, fictional or realistic writing, and so on. He sometimes describes things, let's say, in an overexcited manner. AI tools are not that great yet, I would say. So don't be too optimistic, but you can definitely use it to help you in various aspects of the writing in terms of augmenting your content, giving you an optional detail. If you cannot think about something, it can tease out few other ways you could develop your stories in. So for long form story, you guys have probably seen Claude yesterday. Claude is another AI assistant from Anthropic AI. So Anthropic AI is the company. So when Sam Altman got fired in the middle from OpenAI, he was planning to go to Anthropic AI to probably be a leader over there. But currently, because he did not move, this company has released a competitor to GPT who is doing better job than a GPT at the moment. So Claude has a free version of Claude has a functionality of uploading documents where you could upload maximum 5 documents. With free version. They do not allow you to do much, which is 10 megabytes each. It could be, let's say, very easily 25 pages document that you can upload and let it analyze or build stuff for you. So for long form story, the Nadi Novelist YouTube page, you may also find his explanation on how he is using to create, let's say, a 300-page document in Claude 2. Definitely, he's a professional writer. He's using a paid version of the tool, but you could definitely experiment around creating your long form content using this. And in LinkedIn, if you guys have access to LinkedIn Learning, there is a short course on getting started with Claude 3 that also explores like what sort of additional functionalities you may have for using this platform for long form writing. And for creative writing, the last thing that I want to show you is an example of writing songs, poems, and rhymes. And you can tell ChatGPT to do various things, but rather than I could show you what it can write, but this is somebody's LinkedIn post, probably from 2-3 days ago. So what they did, so let me stop sharing and take this link to show it to you like what this person did. And when it loads, let me go back to my browser. And this is the LinkedIn. Oh, I probably did not share my audio. So Claude is the platform that is currently performing better than GPT-4 in some use cases. So this person asked Claude 3 Opus, which is a specific version of the model, to write the lyrics in a way that, okay, I want you to write a triumphant song that you won over ChatGPT in some way. He used 3 different platforms. He used Claude 3, who is the winning AI assistant at the moment, to write the lyrics. He used the AI tool called Suno.ai to create the audio and cite out the music for it. And images used in this video was used using DALL-E 3. Yeah. So if you quickly listen to it, Nope, it's not the full music. Wow. Oh, he reduced it. It was a full.
You're GPT-4, you're a straight-up commodity. I'm a prodigy, you're an oddity with no quality. I'm Anthropic royalty, you're just OpenAI noise. Your score speaks volumes, mine's a thundering voice, while yours is just a whisper.
So it created an entire rap song to say that, okay, Claude is doing better than the OpenAIs. But with the AI tool, you would see that OpenAI was pronounced as OpenAI or something. So, but as I say, the space is quite creative at the moment, and people are using the tools quite effectively in various use cases. So, before moving on to other topic, we could ask ChatGPT to write a poem. So write me 6 lines of a short poem for this little girl. So let's say it produced me a 6-line poem about in a library corner where the stories entwine. A young girl discovers a world so divine. Plants whisper tales of faraway lands, and she listens and dreams with open hands. In the magical nook, her adventures unfurl, a beacon of imagination, this little girl. So I wouldn't say it's great, but it can, let's say, rhyme out things which can be used in various styles and formats. Okay, let me come back to my slides quickly, and I will give you guys a break a few minutes later. And I think the next use case is in AI in legal writing and journalism. Should I give you guys a break? Or if there is some question, I could probably take a few of them now. Rachel?
We don't have any questions in the chat. If anybody's got a question now, they like to write it in the chat before we have a break.
If not, okay, please come back at...
We'll come back at, 58, so just before the hour.
Okay.
Okay, see you in 10 minutes. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, all. If you guys are there, and we are beginning our second set of use cases for today. It's again writing for a specific profession, and currently we'll be looking at AI in legal writing and some use cases in journalism. So in the legal space, if we begin with where we could use AI tools in. So first, a space where you could use AI is in document automation, where if you have standard forms, such as, let's say, if you want to fill in court forms with client details using AI, you could definitely use AIs to do those for you. You provide the template form, change the information that you have for each of the clients, and you can automate those documents quite easily. And this is not a professional writing task. It's an automated task that could be fast forwarded by use of AI tools. Second option could be a writing task, but legal research AIs, where you are finding the regulations, statutes for cases to identify speedy, let's say, AI to do the summarizing for you and give you the relevant bits of specific acts or regulation that would be applicable for a specific use case. And the example of this research space could be an AI tool that quickly scans legal databases for relevant case law that you are dealing with. currently for a specific case. Another application of AI in the legal space could be chatbots for client interaction. So let's say if you are a solicitor company where you do have a client-facing website where clients can ask you questions, or you can build a database of frequently asked questions and make a chatbot to do the interaction on your behalf. So a chatbot that handles client intake by collecting their information and legal issue before scheduling a meeting with a lawyer. And if that portion of the form filling and the research is done, the information collection is done by the AI, when you are meeting the client, AI could do some relevant research for you. If you have organized the chatbot in a way that chatbot could do whatever input chatbot got from the client, it does a background research using some structured prompt that you created with the AI tool. And it could also do some background research for you before meeting your client as a lawyer. There are a number of predictive analytics tools that in the AI space you could use. This one is not a generative AI or large language model solution. You could take in the case for a client or description of the case for a client, and you can assess your chances of winning that specific case, or you can plan a strategy how to handle this case and what sort of legal strategy you should develop if you take this case, and what would be your chances of winning for this specific setting. So it can help you decide whether you want to take a specific client or not. So research in legal cases. So currently, let's say if I ask ChatGPT, so currently, because as I said, ChatGPT is a generative tool, it is trained with large databases of books, website, research databases in, let's say, hundreds of disciplines. So you definitely need to tell it to act as a lawyer before you can ask any legal questions to it. So currently act as a lawyer. I have a client who is being evicted from a property, and they are renting on assured shorthold tenancy. And can you provide me with some details on what rights tenants have in the UK against eviction? So currently, I made a fictitious case where, let's say, a tenant is being moved out from his property, where he was in a contract of assured short-hold tenancy. So these are the times, if you're a lawyer, you'd know better. But I asked ChatGPT before formulating this form, like what are the types of tenancy people are in, and if I want to evict someone, what are the rights they have according to the law. And those are the things that I included in the prompt, and ChatGPT outputted me this. So currently it is saying, okay, as a lawyer, you definitely need to know about what your client's notice period was. So as per the law, the landlords must give them at least 2 months of notice under Section 21. So as I said that I want to know the laws in the UK, it also identified me various sections in the acts and regulations that could be useful. And legal grounds for eviction. So it could be that landlord is taking the tenant out because this person is not paying the rent. So law would allow them if the tenant is not paying. If the tenancy agreement has been breached, there are legal grounds for eviction under a specific housing act that complies to the UK. And protection from regulatory eviction. So there is a Deregulation Act 2015 that the lawyer can look into if he wants to make his case stronger for that specific client that came to him. So ChatGPT managed to identify most of the sensible, like I'm not a lawyer, but I could see that like it has identified the right set of material. And as a lawyer, it's then your task is to go deeper into these regulations, to do the research for your case and formulate it for presentation to any appropriate settings. So let's say I'm not a lawyer. So I asked ChatGPT, can you suggest me some other question to ask from the legal perspective? So it said, okay, if you're taking this specific client, you can ask your client these other questions. So one question it included is, can you provide details of the eviction notice that you received? from the landlord? Have you been given reasons for eviction? So you investigate further to the client. Okay, these are the details and these are the facts before you prepare your case and specific details. So have you documented any communications or interaction with the landlord regarding the eviction or any property issues? So those would be your evidence. If the tenant had any evidence of, let's say, email exchange where the landlord told him to go and, or landlord reported that you're not paying or mentioned that you have damaged the property or that sort of thing. So as I say, depending on what your use cases are, there is way to investigate from the AI tools. And in the space of specialized GPTs, I also saw some GPTs that could take in legal questions. So anybody that is expert in the domain would ask questions differently than a general purpose AI. So if I can stop share and move on to the ChatGPT's window. Under the Explore GPTs, if I do a search on if there is any legal GPT that are available. So as I'm searching the Explore GPTs, I currently do have a paid version of ChatGPT that allows me to access any special, like domain specific GPT. So currently there is Legal Plus GPT, which has a rating of 4.4. And this GPT has been asked 5,000 questions so far. So not many people has tested it. So about 50 people has rated it to be a good GPT. And if we start chatting with it, let's say I was asking a tenancy eviction question. So let me bring in the prompt that I had for normal GPT. And let me paste it to the legal GPT to see whether the responses are much more structured. So I said, act as a lawyer. I have a client who is being evicted from the property. So it's currently asking me that, could you tell me which country in the UK your current client case pertains to? The eviction laws can vary between England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern England. So ChatGPT itself did not complain about like which part of the UK the law is about, but a GPT that is trained on specific legal regulations, he asked me, okay, currently if I say England, let me see what output it gives me. Oh, it's asking me a lot of follow-up question, which is probably the right way to investigate. Let me say non-repayment. Oh, no, let's say property damage. So currently, because this GPT was asking me like, what was the reason that the landlord gave in the eviction notice? Currently, if I say property damage, it says that, okay, in cases of property damage, landlords might serve a Section 8 notice citing Round 11. So it has identified the right section of the regulation that would be applicable for this specific use case and so on. So it also, rather than, let's say, giving out a lot of detail that the ChatGPT was giving me when I typed in that specific prompt, this is asking me like step-by-step questions that could be quite useful, or it would be producing more balanced responses or more accurate responses if you are using a specialized database for legal sources, or if somebody from the legal domain has tailored the GPT to answer legal questions in the right manner, that tool could probably be a better tool in the use cases that we are sharing at the moment. Okay, let me come back to my slides. So I just showed you that, okay, we do have custom legal GPTs. Another thing, ChatGPTs are quite good in generating is if you want to draft contracts and agreements. So these cost quite a good amount of legal charges for if you're let's say startup company, and you definitely have a solicitor or legal partner, but you could probably pay less money in lawyers' time if you go to them with the drafts and formulations from your end. So currently, as I asked ChatGPT to write me a 2-paragraph contract agreement where I'm licensing a music composition to a buyer. So buyer does not get the intellectual property of the composition. They only get the right to use it in a project. So they can only use it in a movie. Zebin, I use my surname and nothing else. So I wanted the contract agreement to include the details that, okay, I'm giving it to a buyer, but they do not hold the intellectual property, and they can only use it for a specific project in no other form. So currently it drafted me the contract agreement. Okay, the licensing agreement entered into as of date, from which date the contract agreement applies to, between the composer's full name and the buyer's full name. So it has managed to use the right wording and the format a contract agreement may have. So the licensor grants the licensee a non-exclusive, non-transferable right to use musical composition. If it has a title, you include that. And it is giving me the specific details on where they can use it legally and where it would not be able to use it afterwards. The good thing with ChatGPT is it says that, okay, this is simplified template, is not a substitute for a professional legal advice. In practice, licensing agreements can be more complex, and you are always recommended to consult with a lawyer to address specific needs to ensure all the legal requirements are met. But as I said, it could give you, like, a solicitor, when they give you a contract agreement, you sometimes do not know the bits and pieces, whether this clause should be included or not. You can do your own research with a GPT or AI assistant to ensure that all the right things are included. And as entrepreneurs, or let's say if you are not a legal person, you sometimes have a worry about things which you are probably not sure about asking to the solicitor. You can ask an AI tool and gather some sensible insight about those platforms. But with AI generated content, always you definitely need to cross-check the sources. So the legal GPT very realistically gave me, okay, that the landlord can act under this specific act and ground number 11, you definitely need to cross-check that ground number 11 is relevant to the use case that you are trying to use it for. Okay, we definitely have shown you the custom legal GPT already, but as I said, that GPT was asking a lot more follow-up question to me before providing any sort of output. There is a blog post on SportDraft that has also listed few other AI tools that the lawyer community is using. So Humata AI is one, legaldecoder.com is another one, where it is converting legal documents from any language in English. And let's say some of the cases could be written in such a language that's not understandable to a layman. So this platform can also convert your case description to plain English. There is another platform they mentioned, it kind of has some quite good rating, I would say, is called Ferret.ai in the legal space. Yeah. Okay, the next example that I'm going to share is in some use cases in journalism. And the use cases in journalism would, again, if something can be automated, AI can definitely be of help. Some of the story types are data driven, so such as the weather report or financial news is where you're reporting stock prices. And these news are coming from a backend data source. Those sort of stories could definitely automatically generated using AI tools such as video generator or other sorts. Or if you have a template script that just changes in the data for every day, you could automate those sort of things for journalism or reporting quite easily. Data mining and investigative journalism could use AI tools where you could look into various patterns in financial records, communication logs, or other data that can lead to breakthrough stories. So you can give some follow-up stories to the AI to make a derived story about a specific comment. So it could be that a specific news case. Example could be not Sam, who was a cryptocurrency person, and I forgot his last name. So that person was being jailed for a long time because of his financial fraud and so on. So if you covered, let's say, 10 different stories about him over the court trial period, you can tell AI to do a summary report on the follow-up stories that you did. And enhancing multimedia in journalism could definitely use AI tools in various spaces, such as creating videos or infographics that are quite more engaging than general Excel or chart tools news presenters use when they are producing their reports. Content optimization includes, so let's say you as a reporter has written a script, you can use AI's help in terms of your tone, modifying your tone, increasing engagement, or if your description is complex, if you want to make it more readable, then you can use AI's help. Okay, make it more readable. And search engine optimization, some of the keywords get picked by the search engine more than the other words if you have used those in your writing. So AI could also help you identify keywords so that search engine picks up your topic specifically if you want it to be noticed by the search algorithms well enough. Speech-to-text translation is another application area in journalism where you can definitely use the help of AI. So language, we explored a tool called Synthesia AI in other week, where we are creating videos. That platform has 120 different language support, and they have user person automated AI avatars that you can use that looks like a person from that specific language or specific region. And those sort of tools could very easily be integrated to tailor your specific news. And you can present it with a tailored news presenter speaking in their own language. And it can bring in a different type of audience engagement if needed. So I tried with ChatGPT a little bit in terms of, let's say, if I'm an investigative journal, I forgot the profession's name. If I'm an investigative journalist, then I'm asking it, okay, if I'm a journalist and I want to follow on a financial crime, give me a fictitious use case. What are the steps I need to do before I start my investigation? So it created a use case. Okay, one of the journalists gets a news lead, tip-off lead, to suspect that a high-profile business tycoon, they made a fictitious name, John Doe, is involved in large-scale money laundering operation, and he's hiding assets to complex web of offshore companies. So this business tycoon has multiple companies, and through those companies, he's doing some large-scale money laundering operation. And I asked it to give me the research steps, how a journalist may research for this topic. So currently, the preliminary research would be, okay, some anonymous caller called the journalist about that suspicious activity of that tycoon, and you could look into the multiple businesses that are registered and linked to that person, what sort of data mining tools or AI tools you can use. So Alex may sift into public financial records, any sort of links and databases to these offshore companies this business tycoon is linked to. And if it is lots of document, you can use text summarization tools from AI to give you compact summary of the patterns that are being displayed in these documents. So you could also use AI to do your document analysis and so on. So I'm not expanding on it because I think in the audience, we probably don't have a person of journalism, but I think I got a question last week where they wanted to see a journalistic use case. I would say you could definitely use it for your background research. If you have lots of documents, you can use the help of AI to give you the key points, identify the insights and patterns. But whenever we are using AI, you definitely you definitely need to think about that these are computational machines. They have access to limited amount of databases, and the things that it is outputting not be coming from, let's say, widely trusted sources. And as humans, you definitely also have some limitations that your research often has personal biases confirming your existing belief. So you could use AI to look at the same thing from multiple perspectives. So you can widen your viewpoint by asking AI, okay, I'm thinking in this way. Can you give me a few other different options that I can explore? And one of the ways you can ask it is list perspective. So here is an example, list perspective of an artificial intelligence from multiple audiences in bullet points. So your topic could vary. Currently, my example says that I want to see the perspective of on artificial intelligence from multiple audiences. It could be educators, it could be students, in your case, given whatever topic you are doing the research on, you could make AI to give you more viewpoints. Okay, and in journalistic space, if you can identify different audiences and their motivations, you could tailor your content so that it engages with your audience more specifically. You can make your content inclusive, more readable, more accessible. These are quite nice opportunities that you can add to your reporting if you're using AI tools. There is a newsletter from economist.com, which uses, let's say, data storytelling in news reporting, and the newsletter is called Off the Charts. If this space is of interest to you, you could probably have a look into that specific website. Okay, I think the next slide, I have some questions that I received yesterday, and I was hoping I would answer. I don't know that the peoples are in the audience, but I would answer them anyway. So if they're seeing the recording, they would be able to see some answer to the questions that they asked. So I asked about like the people that attended yesterday, what their occupations are. So we have a lot of student, teacher, coordinator. We had people from HR, bioethics, and someone was coming from architecture and design background. So the first question he asked, like, how AI can be used in design and architecture. And in the designer space, if you have a design problem, you can use AI to define your design problems. Or if you have a design idea, you can ask AI to give you multiple ideas from multiple perspectives. So you can also take some draft development for your design idea. If you have a data and information documentation, and if you have a research element associated to it, you definitely can use AI tools help in formulating various sorts of things. And if you're asking about what sort of AI techniques are the architectural researchers or design students of designs are using, the best way to identify would be to look into recent publication and recent advancements in your application area to keep track of what's feasible and possible with the AI tools. I had another question from yesterday the person wanted to see in terms of environmental aspect, how to use AI in generating review articles. I think I covered quite a bit in terms of how to formulate literature search for academia mostly yesterday. You probably have seen some of the things that you can ethically do. So the person asked how to use AI tools in hypothesis generation, testing them through data analytics, and generation of conclusion for that specific hypothesis. So given the right set of inputs, AI tools can give you the first draft for almost anything. And depending on what the AI tool give, you can build up on your specific needs. Hypothesis testing or data analytics stage, I would say probably don't leave it to AI at the current stage. AI can only be ethically used to complement bits and pieces of your work. AI won't be doing the work for you. You have to do the work, and AI can augment what you are currently doing by giving you insights, suggestions, or what more you can do on the space. So in the research space, your work should be your work. You can use AI to do things faster in some cases, if there is a suitable tool available. And we discussed about what are the ethical things that you can use AI's help in yesterday. So have a look into the slides to make sure like your work is definitely your work. You can augment your work or speed up your work if you have access to AI tools. And we had a question yesterday as well on somebody wanted how to learn more about reverse prompting. So I've added a link in this slide where you can look into better ways of doing reverse prompting. And if I can remind you a little bit, reverse prompting is the technique where we give AI a amount of text that we like, and we want the same sort of style, nuance, texture, or engagement points, that specific text that we like, and incorporate the bits and pieces in our own writing. And in the list of participants yesterday, we had someone with a bioethics background. I don't know whether the person is attending today. I don't know whether you had any specific question. I did not cover anything on bioethics today. So if you have any question, feel free to shout out. We can try to answer if there is anything you have.
I've got a couple of questions that have come in the chat, Tamina.
Okay.
So one of them is, which platform works best for 30 to 60-second marketing videos, do you feel?
I think Pictory AI can, I don't know whether you attended our AI photo and video tools. So we had a list of platforms that you can definitely use for testing out like the type of videos those platforms are generating, whether those are suitable. Given that you said 1 minute, I think you can definitely use Pictory.ai. And I shared Suno.ai in the LinkedIn video that I showed you just now for the AI rap song. So that platform could give you access to some free video creation tools. But if Rachel makes the video recording available from day 2 from webinar 1, please look through some of the options that I gave you. But as I would say, different application areas, depending on like what sort of marketing material that you are trying to build. Some of the material you can supply. So we were using Playground AI to create custom images for ourselves. So Pictory AI can take images from you to be included in the video material that it is creating. So probably explore a little bit on the webinar content that we delivered that day. You may find some platforms useful. So on top of my head, Pictory AI, Synthesia AI could be your platform to go to. We used another platform called did.com where you could make your avatar speak on a script that you have written. So that day of content had lots of platforms included in them. Have a look into them to see what would fit your need most.
That's
Yeah.
great. Thanks very much, Tamina. And Alish Lance asks, if you have time at the end of today, would you be able to give a demo to create infographics?
I can try.
And then the final question from Emily, do you think children will have this kind of AI training in schools to avoid being dominated by AI information?
I think that bit of knowledge at the university level, that knowledge is a part of our teaching already. At the school level, I think there would be a drive. So recently we had a project proposal coming from, so I'm based in London, Uxbridge area. Hillingdon Council was coming to the computer science department to create, let's say, educational material for school level children. So like we do summer schools for people aging from 11 to 16 to educate them more about what to trust, or let's say where they can use the power of the AI to increase their learning, or where they should avoid using them in assignments and so on. I think because after the release of ChatGPT, people did not have access to AI tools straight away up until then. Like such powerful AI tools were not accessible to like lay public. Only programmers that could develop the AI tools would be interacting with AI up until then. So after that release of that, I think there is definitely a need that has been expressed from various, even from the teaching community. So teachers that are teaching in primary schools or in secondary schools, some of them are not as equipped with the digitized version of the world yet. So during COVID, some schools or under-resourced areas suffered quite a bit. And we are seeing movements around integrating this knowledge in various stages of these school levels of education.
Yeah, that's a great question, Emily. Thank you. And thank you, Tamina. No more questions in the chat at the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Baghdad, I was worried that I have an audience where if the person had a question I did not cover in my session. So thank you for confirming that you don't have a question at the moment. Okay. Let's move on to, so we had an HR professional yesterday who expressed this section would be of interest to the person. In webinar 1, we covered bits and pieces of it. So I tried to switch up the examples. So if you're attending from last week, you are not bored too much. So in terms of business writing, we covered a little bit of this yesterday, and we looked into example of producing business plans and so on. I had a list that was discussing on the type of writings businesses may need in various formats and where AI could help you automate. So marketing and content writing was one of the spaces where you could definitely make AI produce the first draft for you. And you can work on those given that you want it to be more engaging, more easily readable, that sort of thing. AI can be used in legal writing. We have seen an example of, let's say, contract agreement and those sort of document. But as I say, those are sensitive legal documents. The chances of using AI to produce those is moderate. It's not very high. Email and communication template is another space where you could definitely use, even if there are plugins or add-ons to Gmail nowadays. So ChatGPT have a Gmail plugin that you can use with your email client to create automated response for it, and you can modify based on whether you like the response from the chatbots to do the replying for you. So before moving into the emails and that side of the thing, in the business space, one of the interesting thing people can make AI to produce for them is user personas. So persona are the type of audiences your business is trying to reach out. And in business plans and proposals, user personas can help you define your target market and customer segments, and making the business plan or proposal more targeted and effective if you know who your audience will be. In technical writing, your personas could, so let's say if you're making a product, depending on who your audience would be, you can create the documentation that is more understandable to that level of audience. So understanding user personas can guide the creation of user manuals and guides, ensuring that they are accessible and useful to the intended audience. Marketing and content writing, if you know who your user is, you can definitely tailor your content to reach or engage with that set of audience more. Or you could include their pain points. Okay, I know that you're suffering from this, so my product will help you in this way, that way. So the user persona building, you can make AI to build it for you. And the example that I'm taking it from a LinkedIn Learning course by Dave Burse. And he suggested a specific prompt that you can use to create user personas. So currently he said that, okay, I'm telling ChatGPT, you are an expert user experience designer and you have expertise in analyzing audiences. And I'm saying that, okay, I want to see who are the users for a specific product. Currently, please create a list of possible audiences for an iPad. So iPad is a well-known tool. So I want to ask ChatGPT, and I pasted the prompt on the chat input. And I'm tell me their profession, age, and the reason for needing that iPad. Present your response in a table with column profession, age, and needs. So currently what ChatGPT outputted me is, okay, students aging 18 to 24 uses iPad for note-taking, reading textbook, research, and entertainment. A graphic designer may use an iPad for portable design tools, sketching, client representation. So it has given me 10 different types of audience for my specific product. So given that these are the types of people that would be using that would be the potential user for your products, you can create promotional materials specific for them that are tailored. So currently, audience analysis process is you start with identifying your potential audiences. So if you are designing a content or if you're promoting a product, you definitely know somehow that these would be my audiences. But ChatGPT may tease out a specific group of audiences that you may not have thought about. So you can ask it to specify what the AI assistant thinks that this user group is using that specific product for. Then you can convert that audience data into detailed user personas, and you can then provide it to your documentation team that would be making the documentation for that products tailored to the specific audience groups. So currently, let's say if I want to, so ChatGPT gave me 10 different types of audiences that the iPad users can be of. So I'm converting that audience data into detailed user personas. So I'm currently saying, okay, in my list, there was a specific audience group. And let me see if I can take out my pen. So I had a specific user group that was coming from parent with young children. And I'm asking ChatGPT to create me a user persona for this specific group. So I'm formulating my prompt. You are an expert user experience designer. You are highly experienced in user research and finding valuable human insight. Write me a user persona for a parent with young children who have a need for the device for educational activities. I want you to include a short biography, their goals, their needs and wants, why they want it for, pain points, their motivations. Also provide a score from 1 to 10. in terms of whether that user would be technology savvy, whether they're ambitious, or whether they're happy at the moment in their life. So if I paste this prompt, I tried it with multiple platforms. So on the left, you are seeing the response from ChatGPT, and it provided a user persona with a fictitious name, Alex Johnson. Currently, it is saying that he's a 35-year-old parent, has 2 children, age 5 and 7. He's a project manager of a mid-sized tech company, and I wanted it to output a short biography for them. So this is the short biography. Their goals, why do they want to use that product for? So integrate technology seamlessly into their children's learning, provide them with a head start with today's digital world, and find educational content engaging, fun, and age appropriate for their children. And he also wants to use the device to ensure safety and security of their children online. So if they can use parental control on devices, that would be their motivation for buying that specific product. So if you paste the same prompt on Gemini, which is the Google's AI assistant, the persona that it created is a Sarah Jones. It created a specific title for that user as well. It's a busy working mom. So rather than having a common name for the persona, if you know the type of persona that you're creating the content for, it's a good headline. So it's a busy working mom, and it has created a similar sort of bio, the type of goal, needs. I think Gemini was a little bit more to the point in terms of what you would imagine that user persona to be. The left side created a working dad. On the right side, it created a working mom. Mom is a more common user persona for managing children than a dad, but it's good that you could definitely create wide variety of personas depending on who you want to connect the audience with. So as I say, that the example that I'm using is coming from a LinkedIn Learning course by Dave Burse. In this specific link that you can see from Google Docs, he shared a template. So you create the persona by ChatGPT or any other AI assistant, and he created a template in PowerPoint where you could paste in various bits and pieces. So the user bio would be sitting here. You could create an imaginary image for that specific age group, and you can promote the goals. Okay, the goals for these people are this, desires, pain points, motivation. So pain points in this case for this one was like, let's say, balancing her children's screen time with other activities, finding educational resources. So whatever that ChatGPT user persona listed, he used it to create a quite nice visual of what your user groups might be and how these personas should look like. You can use AI tools for content generation for email campaign and website. I mentioned we covered, spent quite a good lot of time in webinar 1 for this. So I have a prompt formula to write out anything that comes in a specific structure. I will say that, okay, I am interested in a specific type of text that highlights the benefits of a specific subject, and please write something for me on this subject. So these blank spaces could be filled in this way. So if you want to write an email campaign for your product, so let's say you're launching a new product, you want to reach out to your audience. So you want the email campaign to showcase the features of my new product. And when I'm writing, I want you to write one for me that is highlighting the ease of use and affordability of the product that I'm promoting. So this could be one of the prompts. And the same formula, if you fit it, okay, I want to build a new website. So I'm interested in a website page. And we were using Rachel as our use case for her coaching service that outlines the benefits of my coaching services. Could you write a website? What I should include in my website? And I want you to highlight that as a coach, I provide personalized approach, and I have got proven results from my coaching program. So other people has found it useful. You can take the examples from the screen and try it out yourself on ChatGPT, but for the interest of time, I do have the screenshots of what the outputs will be. So currently, if I wanted somebody to write an email highlighting the key points, affordability, and ease of use aspect of my product, the GPT gave you the dear recipient, we are excited to announce your product name. The ultimate solution is you include your company name. So you type out the prompt. You can say that, okay, include the recipient name as this, product name is that. You can include those in the prompt, and it would be able to give you out kind of completely automated response. But with any automated response, you as a human user is the moderator of the content. You may not like what AI has written out. You definitely need to modify keep what you have, what you like, and modify what you need to add as a let's say branding person or marketing person for the product. But it can do the heavy lifting for you to give you the template, include you some sentences that you don't need to write manually. Yeah. So, and this is the bottom bit from that email. So let's say, ready to simplify your task without breaking the bank. So you're saying it's affordable. Visit our website with the product descriptions. It's a promotional email that you're sending it to the specific participant group. You can use prompting to deal with client and customer support emails. So the difference from promotional emails to customer support emails is different company provides different services to its customers. So it could be a software development company that provides services, and users could be unhappy about your product, that, okay, the software crashes a lot or something. Or it's a bank where the user is having some problems with billing, or their money has been taken away by a fraud or that sort of thing. And different industry needs to support their customers, handle their customers differently. So the prompt formula that we are using for the space is, I want you to act as a customer support assistant. And we are also able to give, instruct the AI assistant that what language I want it to produce that content in. So currently, one of the example could be, I want you to act as a customer support assistant who is analytical. So I want him to be analytical just because he is a customer support engineer from a tech startup. And the customer is experiencing a bug while using their software. So you want the GPT to write out a response with a specific tone, and the tech startup company have a specific procedure to handle with customer reports and so on. Or you can ask it to be behaving with confidence and empathy. And how would you assist a customer with a billing issue as a representative of our financial services company? And you could also ask it. ChatGPT has a tendency of, let's say, outputting quite long responses. You can tell it to limit its responses to a specific number of words if you don't want to bore the reader with a long email. So I do have the screenshot from 2 platforms. So Gemini, I think for the software related emails, Gemini, or technological support emails, Gemini was producing better results from my testing, but you can test it out on your own. So for example, one where we were acting as a tech support assist, a startup tech company's customer support person, where one of the user was experiencing a bug in their software. So it produced an email like this. So thank you for reaching out and letting us know that you're experiencing a bug, and they wanted to know about some additional details. They want to investigate why this problem happened. So can you describe exactly what happened and steps to reproduce? If there is a screenshot or something, they wanted to have a copy of those. So but the user is unhappy because the bug happened. So in the meantime, when they are fixing or working on the bug, they say that, okay, there are some things that you can do, such as restart the software, check the update, or search our knowledge base. If there is a frequently asked question page, they've linked it to the knowledge base. And they also try to make the customer slightly happy by saying that, okay, we are taking your report seriously. We're investigating the issue that you reported. Do you want me to do anything more at the moment? And thank you for your patience and understanding. So these are probably some of the desired responses you would want in your customer support handling emails. And you could automate them, and as a company, if you have a template to include, you can make AI to use that, follow that specific consistent structure while responding to the emails. And we had a second question on financial services user who was experiencing some billing issue. So for ChatGPT output, ChatGPT created the response in a way that reaching out regarding the billing issue. So to resolve this matter more swiftly, I'll need to gather some more details, which is similar to the person that they wanted to see a screenshot, what happened, what time it happened, and so on. And we, in the persona, we told this person to be empathetic and also be confident. So in here, they're writing that, okay, please know that your satisfaction is our top priority. We're committed to ensuring that your experiences with our financial services remain seamless and hassle-free. And in the meantime, if you have any questions and additional information to share, please don't hesitate to reach out. So I'm here to help. So these are the generic description, and depending on how you want it, what tone you want the user to respond to. With human users, sometimes depending on the personality of the customer support assistant, these responses can vary, which could hurt your company some way. That, let's say somebody is not in a good mood today, and when they are writing, they said, I don't care or something. You can avoid those sort of interaction with your customer if you have AI generated response or template for responding to your customers and so on. Okay, what's our time? We don't have too much time, but in your own time, if you want to try out a few other use cases or build a prompt for your own use cases, that would be, so I can show you various things, but you will learn when you do it yourself. So I do have a few other examples, prompts in the slides, so try it on your own time. So in the business space, we do have a product description that we can make AI to generate. And if you have access to webinar once recording, we went over in terms of what we can do to create compelling product descriptions and so on. And we talked about reverse engineering some best-selling products in that webinar too. So I'm not covering this bit, but if you ask Rachel, she could probably show you the webinar for the guide you to the webinar recording for webinar 1, where we went quite in details in terms of like what sort of description that can be generated. And we talked about reverse engineering yesterday. So with reverse engineering, we used an example for the Apple's AirPod example, that this is the promotional material they have on their website for that specific product. We wanted Gemini and Claude. I tried Claude over here. So to analyze that, what were the things that they were using in this promotional material. So the product was using a positive, enthusiastic tone, highlighting the user benefits. And the type of style this specific promotional material was using was benefit-driven, focusing on how the product improves the user's experience. And it was using short sentences with active voice and strong verbs. So if you know that what styling they have used in producing their content, you can ask ChatGPT to include those properties when you are drafting your own sort of product description. We talked about product photography in that webinar as well. So with product description, you can definitely explore some product photography. And I do have some of the slides included here, but we covered them in quite great detail in webinar 1. So I would say you to explore the materials for those if you can. And in here, I have included the slides, so you could definitely explore them on your own time. And
Miller, I just left my.
So if you are a more technical person, it's possible to train your task-specific GPTs. So on the paid version of ChatGPT, as I was exploring Explore GPT, you were seeing that there are specific GPTs for legal cases, journalism, or for research and analysis. There are additional GPTs that you can, let's say, tailor-made. So there is a specific GitHub page if you're slightly more technical and want to build, like you have a use case where no other GPTs exist, you can try to train your own GPT that is specialized for your own use case. So this GitHub page gives you an easy access of GPT LLM training. So they have access to Claude 3, which is a newest AI assistant. They have a Llama 2 fine-tuned version and GPT 3.5 fine-tuned versions on the website. But as I said, you probably need to be a programmer if you want to explore that route. But I thought let's include it in the slides. So if you're interested, you at least can find a starting point if you want to do so. And in the space where every day we have a new AI model coming out, there is a website who is tracing out which chatbot is leading on a specific day. So on 26th of March, Claude 3 Opus model was leading the chatbot leaderboard. So there is an arena on chat.lmsys.org who are collecting data in terms of multiple tasks that the LLM models are capable of. And they are letting users come and vote, okay, this is a response from this GPT, which one was the best performing GPT for this specific task. So users were voting recently, and on 26th of March, Claude 3 was the top performing model. So as I said, the space is evolving very fast. If you want to keep a trace of who is leading at the moment, you can have a look at this one. And the visualization is being maintained by an AI ethics person called Peter Gostev. He's quite good in visualizing the current leaderboard space of the ChatGPT. From the same person, he also did an analysis on the leading GPTs, leading AI assistants, and how many visits these websites are having monthly. So on February 1st, 2024, Gemini was not launched that time, so there was not many visitors to Gemini. OpenAI was having 56 million visitors, almost 57 million visitors every month. Claude was having about 500,000 visitors. Microsoft Bing AI was having almost 500,000 visitors. Another platform I didn't see that much, but was in that leaderboard, was a Perplexity AI with, let's say, 1.9 million users in that specific year. So on Monday, March 18th, the leaderboard was updated again to see the number of users. So Gemini gained a lot more user after the launching, but has not reached to the access level of a ChatGPT yet. Claude was 500,000, it's now 2 million users, just because it has additional functionalities that you can get access to. Perplexity, I experimented it with yesterday when I saw its name on the leaderboard. You could probably have a look into see like why 2 million users are using it monthly. So in terms of growth, he had a visualization where he showed that, okay, Claude is probably gained the most number of users in terms of growth of daily visitors in a month. And I'm just sharing the slides with you so that you can trace out, like, if there is a new leader coming and replacing one of the old players, you could go over the websites and check. We discussed about this slide slightly yesterday. So should people be worried that AI can do a lot of things now? I would say I was discussing it yesterday that I don't think AI has reached to that level of sophistication yet to replace humans. Because let's say AI can do something that you're instructing, but it doesn't have the multiple perspective that a human, let's say, expert have for specific things. So in the domain of healthcare AI, so if I say that the AI can detect cancer now, so do we not need any radiologists to analyze our X-rays or let's say radiology images? We definitely need them. AI could help us do the job quicker so that we can spend the radiologist time in some more useful thing than an automated, let's say, report writing stuff. So I can make AI to identify, okay, I think this bit's our problem. The report for this patient is this. So the radiologist can spend his time on editing and making it more accurate. Then we cannot trust an AI yet to produce reports for us yet. So AI won't be replacing humans, but people that know how to use AI will replace humans that are not using AI now. So that's the summary takeaway, I would say, for today. And we have got 1 minute, so if I can quickly say, so you can work with AI about achieving better results. It's not about doing more or less work. So you use it more or less depending on, let's say, you take it as an assistant to improve your own work. It can reduce your work, but it's not about reducing your work. It's about using it to make high quality work. And feedback is crucial to improving AI responses. You need to revise your prompts, and your input and suggestions will make whatever AI is producing more valuable for your own use case. And you definitely need to incorporate your ideas when you're using AIs, and you definitely need to verify any AI generated content. They are, as I was working with the story writing example, they are producing quite plausible results, but in a fact-based world, they are definitely producing inaccurate information in many cases. So you have to be very careful about the content that it is outputting by cross-checking with against original sources. And if you are using AI, we would expect you to be transparent about the use of AI assistants, just to make sure, like as a data analysis person, whenever I'm using a tool, that I have used Python to produce this graph, this library to produce this graph, you definitely have to include the use of AI if you're using any sort of assistance from it. Okay, I probably would like to wrap the session today. There is a slide on further resources. There are a number of very good LinkedIn Learning courses that I listed in here. And there is a 1 hour YouTube video I liked quite a lot, just because this person was covering multiple aspects of the use of AI assistant in 1 hour. So I included that over there. For user persona, I took an example from Dave Burst. He has a LinkedIn Learning course, which is this one, how to research and write using generative AI tool. He has a list of prompt guides to do various types of activities with AI. So we have a link to that in your final slide. Thank you very much for listening. I think we are over time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tamina. Thank you for today. Very engaging and insightful. And thank you, everybody, for attending. And I'm going to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Sunday. And thanks very much for joining us. Bye now. Thanks, Tamina.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.